So is that a B2B business?
I'm sorry?
B2B business? That you,
this would be business to business, right? As opposed to business to consumer.
Right. So, what I think you're talking about is thought leadership and education.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. When you have a question, where do you go to find the answers?
Right now. I didn't say it. Like Google it. Jump on.
Exactly. So that's where you want to be, right? The question is, how do you get there? And you get there by creating content. So if you have answers to specific questions, you should be writing about those in a blog, or you should be creating YouTube videos that specifically deal with that. So, how do I get financing, right? That should be the title of your video, and you want to come up at the top of the search results for that, and you want to build traffic for that. It really depends on what your individual goal is, but for me, it sounds like you want to be able to provide answers for people. So in order to do that, you need to create content, get it indexed, get it out there, and people will find you. But then you should also be promoting that content as well.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, a couple questions. First, I asked a couple people in here, exactly what is your business? I mean, how do you make money?
So I try not to make these things a sales pitch, and so I actually get that question a lot at the end of my presentations, like, what the hell do you do? So we actually, our business is sponsored conversations, so we actually pay bloggers and tweeters to talk about brands online. So we have a network of 385,000 creators that will talk about anything from movies to computers and everything in between. All with full disclosure and transparency that they're getting compensated, but we're kind of in the buzz and traffic building business.
So do you earn money from, who pays you?
Who's your customer?
So advertisers, so let's say Microsoft's one of our clients, and they want to get out the word about a new technology. They will pay us to go and hire 1,000 bloggers to talk about that technology.
Gotcha.
And get them introduced to that technology.
Thank you. Now, the next question has to come with professionalism. You see so many things on the net. Okay, I'm a CPA, and I can't go put a picture of me snoring in the backseat, or people are not going to take me professionally.
Yep.
It's a whole different world to me, and how do you take advantage of LinkedIn and different things like that versus the Twitter and
well, LinkedIn can be an incredibly powerful tool for people that are in more of the professional roles, doctors, lawyers, actually not doctors, I would say CPA would be a great example actually. There's a whole section inside of LinkedIn that has to deal with Q&A. And if you want to become a thought leader in the space, I suggest being very active in answering those questions and being looked to as a resource for great information.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
My question is along the same line when it comes to being like a paid for a message. I understand there's some new rulings where you get penalized if you don't let them know that you're being paid. How do you actually, is it a little violent at the bottom, or?
Yeah, so there's been some recent changes by the FTC that actually go into effect December 1st of this year, and it has to deal with endorsements and testimonials in social, specifically in social media, and it applies to everything from celebrities to everyday people. So basically, the rule is if you are providing anybody anything of value, so you're giving them a free trip, you're giving them, a free service, you're sending them a video game, or you're paying them cash, that has to be disclosed in some way. The FTC doesn't say how it has to be disclosed specifically. They don't give you like, here, copy and paste this.
So it could be mentioned on the blog site and not necessarily attached to each blog post?
It could. I would err on the side of caution on that. The penalties are pretty steep, both on the advertiser side and the blogger side.
Was it 11,000 or 1,100?
So I wouldn't want to get hit with a penalty like that. So I would make sure that you're taking the high road and that you're being as transparent and open as possible.
Along that same line, how, blogs are known to be authentic, like discussions between, affinity, people who love your brand and stuff. When it becomes paid, I'm not saying it's bad, but you're walking a thin line there?
Yeah, the big thing there again is transparency and then also freedom of voice, right? So if you're going to interact with bloggers, do not expect to tell them what to say or how to say it, or that you're going to say, hey, I want you to tell your friends that this is the best product ever, and that they're going to actually do that. Most likely, if you go and do that, and approach a blogger in that way, they're going to say, hey, this jackass came to me, and here's the email he sent me, and
So
publish
I should come to
it.
you and have you call it.
I had a question about, we're a pretty conservative company, and we're just kind of getting into the Web 2.0 social media space. With you being the expert and having a lot of intel into this, when you give everyone your employees, if they sign up for Twitter and tweeting and setting up their own blogs, you give everybody a voice. How do you control the liability issue? If they say something, and I'm in the employment field, so I've even seen where employees have seen a tweet that an employee said, I'm at the beach, but I called in today, my boss doesn't know about it. All of a sudden they catch that. So how do you deal with that, and what do you recommend for the business as well as the employees?
First thing is don't hire stupid people. For our company, and it's going to vary by field, right? Like if you're dealing with an industry that's highly regulated, I think that you've got to clamp down a lot more, and you may have a policy where nobody can speak about the company itself. They can have their own Twitter account or whatever, but they're not allowed to mention any of the dealings with the company. For us, it's kind of just use your best judgment. We specifically don't have a lot of rules for our employees. We don't allow them to engage in any sort of argument online. Aside from that, they can, nothing explicit or anything like that. Aside from that, it's use your best judgment and, treat everything as if everybody is going to read it. As if I am reading every single tweet and your mom is reading every single tweet. And just be smart about it. The way that I would probably approach it for your specific organization is to sit down with people and have that discussion and figure out what are the appropriate guidelines for your particular organization and your industry. And also, it all gets back to that mission and purpose, right? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Because if you're trying to humanize the people in your company and create relationships, and like everything out there is ultra professional and all about work and all about the industry, and there's no personality behind it, then I don't know that you're going to be effective.
Greetings, Ted. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Gene Sells here. Hi, Gene. Good to see you.
Hey.
We run a nonprofit organization, and our employees engage with Twitter and Facebook, and we have found it has cut the clutter communication for a lot of our constituents because they can go direct to decision makers faster because email and phone calls don't always get returned these days. So we're seeing the social media as a new communication channel. But there's been kind of a movement to awareness versus like promotions and marketing. I remember like a decade ago when I first came around the chamber, it was like, how you're marketing your company. But now it's really how you're bringing awareness to a cause or awareness to something that you're doing